crowd, and I know the Canadian crowds are one of those crowds that tend to be more lively and more vocal, and it would be very easy for all the people out there who love to say, well, it's one of those smart. I used to joke about that all the time because when it was Roman or Cena or whoever would come out and they wouldn't get a reaction that was sort of expected or hoped for by WWE, you would always have the defenders say, well, this is a smart city. New York and these places, these are smart cities. And then when it started happening in places like Louisville, and like, I don't know, like Tacoma, Washington, and places like, I'm like, oh boy, I didn't know that Tacoma and Louisville were also smart cities. And that shut them up real quick. But at what point do they realize that this is not a Montreal problem, or a New York problem, or a Chicago problem, or a New Orleans problem? It is a Roman Reigns problem. It is a Vince McMahon problem. At what point do they admit this? At what point do they do something about it? Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman are the two top babyfaces on this brand right now. And neither one of them are challenging for what is supposed to be the top title I guess it is really the top title in the company, but at the very least, the top title on Monday Night Raw. Braun Strowman just won a 50-man Royal Rumble match, the biggest Royal Rumble of all time, and they didn't have him say word one on this show about wanting Brock Lesnar's title. No, he's in a tag team match tonight. There's something wrong with this picture. Now you contrast that Roman Reigns promo that you heard if you could hear it over the booze at the beginning of the show, you contrast that with the Seth Rollins promo later on in the show. They loved him so much. They were so loud, they wouldn't even let the man speak. It reminded me of when Hogan came out on SmackDown that time. I don't know if it was in Montreal or it was in, I could have sworn it was in Canada. So maybe it was Toronto or Montreal or Ottawa or somewhere, but he came out and it was 5 minutes before they would let him speak. He just leaned on the ropes and sort of took it all in. He was getting all emotional, and nobody milks a reaction better than Hulk Hogan does. But it was this genuine reaction, this genuine outpouring of love for that man. And this, I wouldn't put this on the Hogan level, but it kind of reminded me of that, where he sort of just at one point, Rollins leaned on the ropes and just sort of looked out and he couldn't believe it. He was genuinely moved by the reaction that he got here. And when he speaks now, because he's a babyface, he comes across as very humble when he speaks, and just comes across as being very genuine. Finn Balor, by the way, came out to challenge him to an Intercontinental title match because, as he pointed out, they were all knotted up. Two singles wins apiece for both of these men. And Rollins agreed, and so that was what set up the main event.